Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Fore-All Podcast. I'm Jesse Morrison alongside Max Bechtold. And Max, it's yet another major week. The Kpmg Women's PGA Championship. We will get to that in just a second, but we need to talk about the Meijer, which just went down, and near and dear to our hearts, Carlota Ciganda won that tournament. It was very close going into Sunday, and then it stayed pretty competitive, but she ended up kind of pulling away at the end. So just how big of a win is this for her?
Oh, well, this is huge. First of all, she is now, and this will just tell you the difference between the PGA Tour and the LPGA Tour once again, is she is now the oldest winner on the LPGA Tour since 2022. She's 36 years old. So that tells you a lot about it, and how, LPGA players, we just see older players not win very often. So this was a big win for her. It's her first one in a long time, I believe since 2016, if I'm not mistaken, on the LPGA Tour. She's obviously won a lot on the Ladies European Tour. We look at her as probably one of the best players in the world without a major. Great Solheim Cup player. Just has been a really big force for a lot of years out here. Unfortunately, has become a little bit more well known for her speed of play over the last few years, but still a great player. And this was a really great win. It continues to trend at the Meijer, where every single year of this tournament, either a major winner or a Solheim Cup player has won this event. So it was a great event. Yeah, she only won by one stroke, but it really didn't feel like that at the end there, with Ciganda making 3 birdies in a row to finish. Hyejin Choi really didn't feel like she had that much of a chance, and then everybody was pretty much eliminated coming up behind them. So, but a great win, a huge career moment, and I think that we could see this give her some momentum going forward.
I do have one correction for you. She's actually only 35.
She's 35, that's right.
So that makes
Yoonhee Ji was 36 when she won in 2022, so she's the oldest since then.
Yeah, so that makes it even more kind of astonishing that a 35-year-old is the oldest player to win on tour in like 3 years.
And I was reading Alan Shipnuck, one of his tweets, and I respect Shipnuck a lot as a reporter, but he had tweeted that a young star in Carlos Ortiz was competing in the major this week. Carlos Ortiz is 34 years old, and so that just shows you the difference there. Is a 34-year-old is considered a young star, while Carlota Ciganda at 35 is the oldest winner in 3 years.
Yeah, and this was her first LPGA win in almost 9 years. She won the Lorena Ochoa Invitational back in November of 2016. However, like you said, she's in a Ramco win in 2023. She just won a Ladies European Tour win in December of 2024. So she's been winning. She just hasn't been winning on the LPGA Tour. And like we've said multiple times, the Ladies European Tour is basically on par with the LPGA.
Yeah, it's certainly the events that Ciganda is playing in. A lot of these Aramco events are events that have LPGA Tour quality fields in them. And I'm looking at Carlota Ciganda. I think there's a decent chance she could be the next Solheim Cup captain from Europe. And so that's something to look forward to, is if she's still in good form in 4 years when the Solheim Cup is, that she could potentially be that captain of. She could possibly be a player captain.
So you mentioned Choi. You said before we got on the podcast, you said she might be the best player on tour without a win. What do you think she needs to do to actually put together a win?
I think it sounds like an obvious thing, but she needs to learn how to close, because she was in control of this event late. She was looking so steady. She hits the ball, laser straight. Just kind of plays like you expect a lot of these Korean players to play. Just really solid and consistent golf. Kind of came off the wheels a little bit at the end for her. You could kind of feel the moment might have been getting to her. So I think she just needs to keep putting herself in these positions, get used to it, and learn how to close a little bit better. But she is a fantastic player. Certainly of players who have been out there for a few years, I would certainly put her well toward the top of the best players without a win yet.
And a player that has kind of played well this year, given the fact that she's technically a part-time player right now. I mean, it's Lexi Thompson. She almost won this event, tied for 4th, 13 under. Yeah, I mean, she was playing well out here in Arizona when I went. She's played well in other tournaments. Like, she's got some momentum going into the major, and maybe it's the best thing in that she's gone to this part-time schedule because she gets a little more rest, and she's got a ton of exemptions because she's such a good, has had so much success on the tour. So it's not like she's seriously part-time. She plays a lot.
Yeah, and this is a course that she's had a lot of success at. Very clear she loves this course. Very clear she loves the community. Very clear the community really embraces her. She's won at this course before. Last year she was a runner-up, and it really kind of kickstarted part of her season last year when she started playing well after this event. And so I think that Lexi can take a lot into this week at the Kpmg. Then the next week at Dow, she's playing once again in the Partners event. And it looks like she's partnered up with Megan Kang, which is a partnership that I really love for her. Someone who can really get her fired up and get her going and get her passion flowing. And so I think that we could see a really good stretch of golf here from Lexi Thompson.
All right, let's get to the Kpmg Women's PGA Championship. It's going to be at Fields Ranch East at PGA Frisco in Frisco, Texas. What are your thoughts on the course before we get into the nitty-gritty details of this tournament?
It's interesting. I've been looking through the course. When I've seen some of the highlights, it looks like there are times when you have to be really precise off the tee. There are times when you get a little bit of a wider landing area. I don't think we're going to be seeing quite like the rough that we saw last week at Oakmont or a couple weeks ago at Erin Hills. I think it's going to be maybe a little bit more forgiving in that aspect. But you always think about Texas, the elements. Right, it's going to be hot. It's going to be in the mid-90s, so that could possibly dry out the course a lot. There's supposed to be a lot of wind. That's the whole stereotype is, Texas golf is always incredibly windy. So you're going to see that course get dried out a lot, being in the sun with the wind. I think it's going to be really interesting to see the conditions. Different things that I've read, you need to be really precise with your approach shots. So I think really good iron players will have a really big advantage this week, as they usually do. I mean, I think iron play is one of those aspects of the game that can really carry you. And so I think that's what I'm looking for. Apparently very big greens out there, so some putting might be important as well. But we'll see. It's kind of a new look. I know that the seniors played a major here a couple years ago, but this is a really good chance, I think, for a lot of people to see this course because it's hosting a PGA Championship also in the next couple of years.
Yeah, we have Golf Channel on in the background while we're recording this, and they showed Nelly Korda putting and getting ready for the tournament. She tees off at 9:28 Eastern time, so that's
alongside Gino and Lydia Ko. What a group!
Quite the group. That's your notable pairing. That's going to have a lot of crowds. Get there early if you're listening to this and then going to the tournament. If you want to follow them around, or maybe just decide to park it on a hole for this event. But yeah, I mean, I saw her putting out there, and I was like, that looks like some pretty solid rough. So I'm not sure it's at the U.S. Open levels, but this definitely could be hard.
I think there are different points and places where you're going to be able to see a little bit both. It looks like there's some pretty wide open vistas. Then it looks like there's some places where there's just a lot of native area grass, that kind of fescue-like grass. Mm-hmm. And so I think that it'll be interesting to watch as the first round kind of goes. How much is hitting the fairway going to be essential to the winner of this event? I think we're going to learn a lot about the course on the first day.
So last year's champion Amy Yang, 2 years ago's champion Ronan Yin, they're part of this field. Nelly Korda is a past winner. Obviously, she's part of this field. Brooke Henderson, Anna Nordquist. So a lot of past champions in this one playing. Kind of last year, I remember watching it, and it was kind of a surprise win for Amy Yang. Do you see her having much of a shot in this one?
I don't know. It's her game has not been the strongest outside of that win over the last year or so, and so I think it'll be interesting. I mean, I do think this is a tournament where I lean toward first-time major winners in general. It's kind of I kind of consider it the star-making event of the LPGA Tour. You look at Brooke Henderson won her first major here. Danielle Kang won her first major here. Nelly Korda won her first major. Seyoung Kim won her major here. Ronan Yin now is a star. Amy Yang was one of the best players without a major and got it here. So I always look at first-time major winners as players who I think could really have good chances here.
And I guess technically she was older than this weekend's winner, Carlota Ciganda.
Is she? How old is she?
She is going to be 36 in July.
But she might have been younger at the time.
That is true, actually.
She would have been 34.
Yeah, she would have been 34. Yep.
So
yeah, you're right.
But yeah, no, obviously that's part of the reason why Amy Yang was kind of such a surprise is because older players don't win majors a whole lot. They don't win LPGA events a whole lot. And so it was a great, very popular win, though, I know, last year.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I think it was arguably the most impressive performance out of anybody in all of the majors. Just the way she kind of really pulled away. I think she won by 3 or 4 strokes. It wasn't really even close at the end. So I very impressive, and I wouldn't be surprised to see her compete this week. I just don't know if I see the win for her.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you there. Like you mentioned, her game's just kind of been inconsistent this year. Inconsistent to honestly a little bit bad.
Yeah.
So I don't really see her winning this year. Couple of players that we do need to get into though are Gino Titakun, Nelly Korda. Obviously, they're the 2 top golfers in the world, and we obviously need to talk about them and their chances. And I think this could be a big tournament for Nelly just because of how she's been she's been mid, to use a word that the kids say.
Again, for her standards.
For her standards, yes.
She's still like top 5 or 6 in CME points, which is mind blowing to me. But I do agree. We just haven't seen the Nelly that we got used to last year, or really, frankly, anytime she's been fully healthy. I mean, when you look at it, she really wasn't healthy in 2022 or 2023. 2021, she won 4 times. So when she's fully healthy, you expect her to get those wins. Again, I think it's just going to take one for her to win, and I think then she'll get a lot of that momentum. That's why I was a little bit frustrated she didn't play last week at Meijer. Another player like Lexi Thompson, who plays very, very well on that course generally. I think that could have been a really good opportunity to get some confidence, get some momentum on a course that she knows and plays well. But I do think that this is a great opportunity. She's going to win eventually. It's just a matter of when. She will win this season. I think that this is a chance for her to do so. This is a tournament she's generally played pretty well. Like I said, she got her first major title over at Atlanta Athletic Club in this event. So I think this is a big opportunity, especially playing with the other 2 best players in the world, kind of that spotlight pairing. I think it's a good opportunity for her to go out and put some good rounds together.
And Gino, do you think this course fits her well? Do you think she's got a good shot in this one?
Frankly, again, I think every course suits Gino well in theory. Her game is just so flawless. I'd like to see a little bit more out of Gino in majors. This year she has not played well in the majors. She still hasn't won one, even though she had some good results last year. I'm not saying that I'm looking for her to win this, but I would like to see her in contention, get a top 5 finish, just to get some momentum in those majors heading over to the European ones.
All right, before we get to predictions, who are kind of some sleepers you might be looking out for? Maybe the Haley Cooper of this event, or who obviously played really well a couple weeks ago in the women's U.S. Women's Open. Who do you see kind of being one of those kind of players?
Well, look,
or some of those kind of players.
Yeah, you're gonna say you're probably gonna say she isn't a sleeper, and I think that's fair. It's a player that I wouldn't necessarily pick to win, but that I think has a good chance to play well, and that is Carlota Ciganda coming off that win.
Momentum. We talk about it all the time.
It's momentum. I think, once again, when she's in form, any course can suit her. She does a lot of different things with the golf ball. She can putt pretty well when she's on. She hits the ball. She's one of the longest hitters on tour. And so I do like her in that way, where it's like, I do just think that, hey, she's got a good chance to capitalize on that momentum, keep it going. Another player in a very similar situation who's playing with a lot of momentum, older European player, actually the only other player over 30 to win this year, Madeline Sagstrom. Mm-hmm. Really like to see her. I mean, obviously these aren't like Haley Cooper-esque picks.
Yes.
But I do think that these are players that maybe I wouldn't be picking to win the event, but that I would pick to play well in the event. I mean, if you're looking for me to go a little bit deeper in this, I think Nana Madsen, another player very much in the same position as those last two, has a lot of momentum. I love Austin Kim's game. Austin Kim maybe is the closest to like that big long shot that I've mentioned. I really, really like her game. I think if she putts well, she's a threat to win any week. And so I'm going to throw her name out there also. She played really well in the U.S. Women's Open a couple weeks ago, so I think she can continue that major momentum.
All right, predictions. Who you got in this one? Mine's going to be boring, so I'll let you go first.
I think I'm going to take Hye-Ran Yu. I do think she's been a little bit quiet the last few weeks. I picked her at the U.S. Women's Open. She didn't win that. I do think she's going to win a major this year. I think it's a matter of where and when, and I think this week is the week.
I'm going to go Nelly Korda.
I don't blame you.
She's won this event before. I think she's going to figure out the putter this weekend, and I think she's going to get back on track, and this is going to start leading to some more success, maybe a couple more wins this year as well.
It's super busy kind of part of the schedule right now, too, so it's a great time to get some momentum with some more chances at majors in the next few weeks, including one that Nelly generally plays very well at, which is the Evian.
And what's the coverage looking like for this weekend?
Really, really solid. I think there's 7 hours of coverage every day. Golf Channel, it's kind of like a split coverage where you get like 4 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the afternoon on Thursday and Friday. Then I think it starts Eastern time, I believe around 1 o'clock and runs till like 7 o'clock. So good coverage. I believe there'll be featured groups out there also. So especially Thursday morning, bright and early, I assume Nelly, Gino, and Lydia will be a featured group. I think that's a safe assumption to make. So I believe their full rounds will be broadcast as well.
And one more thing before we get out of here. I'm not going to try to say the name of the tournament because it's got about 50 million sponsors. But Riley Smith, she won for the second time on the Epson Tour this past weekend. Looks like she's probably going to be on the LPGA Tour next season.
Yeah, right now, currently number 2 in the race for the card standings. Again, top 10 on that, get full status. So right now, she's looking really good. Getting those 2 wins. I'm not saying it's impossible for her to fall out of that top 10, but it's going to be pretty difficult for her to fall out of that. So I would fully expect to see her on tour next year. Really impressive player. Had a great weekend. Shot even par of the first round, then shot 6 under each of the last 2 days to go get that win. Played great down the stretch on Sunday. So this is a name to keep an eye on. I don't think we're going to have the same level of rookie class next year that we did this year, but she could be a player who knows, maybe might be a sleeper for a Rookie of the Year kind of thing.
And what kind of coverage do you have going on the website right now? Fore-All.com, FORE-ALL.com.
Yeah, just kind of kicking off our Kpmg Women's PGA Championship coverage. Full coverage all week. Post-round recaps. Everything that you need for it. Also going to have some more LPGA 75 stuff up this week. So a lot of good stuff up on the site this week covering the Kpmg Women's PGA Championship.
And do not forget to subscribe to the newsletter as well. And we will be back here probably talking about how bad our predictions were
Yes.
next week after the Kpmg Women's PGA Championship.